Ladies and gentlemen, I am Melvin Banks.
And this is Ito.
And we are
the Carbonation Conversation.
Reviewing The Last of Us, Episode 4.
Please hold my hand.
I was like, I don't fucking know.
Oh, it says, please hold to my hand. That's why I got confused. Like, it didn't make sense for a second.
Okay. So I'm like, I don't ever have it written down. That's you.
I was like, wait a minute. But yeah.
If you like what you're listening to, like what we do, don't ever hesitate to like, subscribe, comment, ring that bell, and all of that good jazz. We are here once again to review The Last of Us, and the last time we're doing this review, we had a good episode 3 where me and Ito was a little bit mixed on, and now we've moved on, coming up to episode 4. So before we get right into that, we got some Happy New Beers.
Beer.
I don't even know how to pronounce this. I'm not even gonna try.
Czech bar.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah,
Czech bar.
Yeah, Czech bar. It's a Czech lager. I've been going to this Polish liquor store in Des Plaines. When I've been dropping my wife off from work in the morning, it's like a straight Polish liquor store / bakery.
Yeah.
And so every time I go in there, I've been looking at new beers and stuff. So I was like, you know what? Let me take this. It says it's imported. Why not? So Happy New Beer.
Happy New Beer.
Just hope it's good. Okay, first thing is good. Second thing is I do not know why I didn't expect the fucking overflow. God damn. Oh my god.
Oh, I wish we were recording.
I know, all over,
video.
you know, all over my little jacket and a little bit on my pants. But you know what? It must go on. It must go on. So, quick thoughts. What you think about the episode?
That was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I thought it was solid. It wasn't the best episode to me, but I thought it was very, very solid. Maybe I'm just gonna put this like this. This mic a little bit closer, because I feel like I'm always reaching out. And maybe, can you hear me good?
I hear you.
Okay, cool. So, episode begins with Ellie testing out her new gun. She sneaks. And, you know, she's testing it out. She's taking out the bullet. It seems like for intensive purposes, it seems like she's doing. She's looking in the mirror.
Yeah, it seems like she has some curiosity when it comes to violence.
Yeah, and even a little bit of a skill. I mean, she knew how to pop that shit out. I didn't even know how to do that at like 13, 14 years. I would have probably fucking shot myself. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
Yeah, they're at a gas station, so she's in the bathroom, and then after admiring the gun, she goes outside where Joel is siphoning some gas.
Yeah, so he's ooh, that sounds way better. Yeah. Yeah, he's siphoning off gas, and he does talk a little bit about like, hey, we didn't even think about how gas could basically turn to water if it's not being produced after a certain time, and he's kind of explaining it. And, you know, she's asking him, how do you do that when you push the tube and it comes out? And he's like, yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He's like, yeah, I don't. All I know is it works. Okay, it works. He's like, don't you got something to do? And that's where we start continuing to see the Ellie and Joel vibe. She's like, well, you asked for it. And she brings out this
pulls out her, no pun intended, volume 2 joke book.
Oh, those are like dad jokes to the core. And I didn't write any down on this one. But she was telling him some just pretty shitty jokes. And so they're off, you know, they're driving. I didn't really get any significant details on this trip on the road.
I mean, the only thing I guess she finds a Hank Williams cassette. And a
nudie magazine,
gay porn mag.
Yeah, she's like, oh my god, how does he walk with this thing? And you could tell Joe was just like extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's like, the pages are stuck together.
I know it. And she's like, I'm just playing. And she throws the magazine out the window. They end up taking a break for the night. And we're calling it a night, and then pulling up into basically the woods.
Yeah, it was cool. Woods. Before that, like, it was funny how when they were driving, you see buffalo roaming and stuff, and it's crazy how like it's like nature. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy.
That was interesting because I was like, want to kill it.
Right, it was like buffalo roaming, and then later he's like just a bunch of all these abandoned vehicles.
Yeah,
and stuff.
That's pretty crazy because you think that, you know, obviously we're assuming that a large quantity of the human population is just done. We don't really get into specifics or percentages, but you wouldn't think we would be allowing buffaloes roaming loose because, man, buffalo's huge. It can feed a lot of people. That's why I was like,
so just like after all this shit with humans, after all this shit with humans, nature's still thriving, I guess.
Yeah, that is true. Until them fucking quadriceps get hold of them. Anyways, they go into the forest, and Joe is teaching Ellie a few things. She's like, "Oh, can we start a fire?" And he's like, "Hell no. Why do you think we can't start a fire?" And then she starts to think, she's like, "Oh, the infected." He's like, "No, there's not really infected in rural areas." So she's like, "People?" And he's like, "Yeah, people."
Raiders.
And he's pretty much assuring her because she does get a little worried, and she's just like, "But there's nobody here, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I go to fucking sleep."
Yeah, they were smashing some Chef Boyardee ravioli.
And she was killing it. He's like, "Slow down." She's like, "This is slow." And I did write this joke down. She was like, "Oh, Joe." He's like, "What? Can I ask you something serious?" And he goes, "What?" And she goes, "Why did the Scarecrow get an award?" And I didn't write down the answer, but he
said because he was outstanding in his field.
Yeah, she's like, "Motherfucker, did you read the book?" And he's like, "Nope, I didn't." And then you can kind of see him kind of smirk because they, their backs are kind of turned, because they're in sleeping bags, and she's even like, "Ooh, this sleeping bag smells good." And he's like, "That's probably Frank's."
Yes, that's probably
right. It was like, ooh, what was it? What was it, Ralph? Or what was the guy's name? Anyways, the other guys that is probably opening up his for like, "Oh, fuck, dude, that shit reeks."
You said, he assures her that they won't be found, but she accepts basically. But then his ass ends up staying up all night anyway.
Yeah, because of that.
He can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, wakes up to morning coffee, and apparently this coffee is hot trash, but at least we know one good thing. Starbucks survived.
Really?
What the? Really? Like, she goes, "So is that what the Starbucks at the QZs are at the Fedra camp?" And he's like, "Well, I'm pretty sure they're more fresher, but yeah, that's basically what coffee is." And she's like, "Smells like dog shit." And
so they get back on the road, basically. Now he's driving while she's basically reading the map. And then he starts to open up about Tommy.
Yes, because she asks him, she's just prying. I don't know how she exactly starts it, but she's just prying. Right. She's just like, "Hey, how's your brother? I guess you the oldest. What's going on with him? What's his name? We got 25 hours, so let's chat." Yeah. And from what Joe says is that his brother is what they would call back in the day a joiner.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that term at all.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
And he dreamed basically like being a hero.
Yeah, Tommy was Captain America, basically.
Right. So they basically joined the army and sent to Desert Storm. But to him, it just wasn't enough.
Yes, and then after everything happened, they joined a group of rebels, which is what it seems. And that was when they met Tess.
Yeah,
and then
Joel only really joined it because Tommy joined it. He wanted to just basically watch his back.
Yes, keep him safe, as big brothers usually do.
Right.
And that was when Tommy found Marlene, and Marlene convinced him to join the Fireflies.
Right.
So Joe, he's a little bit. He seems pretty bitter because he even, he starts to go on a little bit of a tangent about, this is why, people talking about the cures and it's just nothing out there. And he has a little pretty fucking bleak aspect of life at this point. And Ellie just goes, "Well, if you don't try, what's life worth living?"
Right.
And Joe does give her a response. He does say, "For family." And this is when it gets awkward and shitty. Because he says, she says, am I your family? Or she says something along that. He goes, no, you're fucking cargo.
Right, so like back to reality type shit.
I was just like, damn, that's pretty fucked up. But she also, because they're heading towards Wyoming to try to find Tommy, and she goes, what if you don't find him? And he goes, I'm persistent. I will find my brother.
Yeah, but if we say call the cargo, that's what also I remember him saying, like, I made a promise to Tess, and she was family, basically.
Yeah, so that was pretty shitty of Joe, but it is what it is at this point. You know, his attitude is what his attitude is. Where we going from here?
So basically, they get to Kansas City and they get to a blocked tunnel.
Yes.
And they could do. So basically, they go back and try to get off on an exit to basically go back on the highway from another, entrance.
And they're going off street. They're in, seems like a little town, and they just don't know where to go. Like, this is like Ellie's first couple of times looking at a map. They're trying to find a highway. They can't find it, and basically
we see these pile of dead bodies that they don't see.
Yes.
As the viewer, it's like, damn, okay, what are they getting into now?
Exactly. And is that at the moment where Ellie sees the QZ zone? And she's like, what?
They see a deserted QZ, basically.
Yeah, she's like, what the hell happened here? And then we see this guy come out with the possum. At least what we can assume is the possum. Like, hey, I'm hurt.
Yeah,
please
calling for help. Joe recognizes
me.
The trap, basically, as they pass a second man. Basically, as they pass him, a second man drops a cinder block on the windshield.
And then they also have the
spikes. Yeah,
that's some crazy shit.
They throw spikes and pop their tires.
Yeah.
And the third man appears with a gun, and they basically crash into a laundromat.
Yeah, and what's so crazy to me is they clearly want to kill them. Like, the shots that they're giving this car, obviously, like you said, the fucking cinder block that gets thrown, like, they clearly, there's not even a, hey, we just want your shit and you can move the fuck on. Clearly, these motherfuckers look like they just tried to kill him. like you said. At this point, Joel is like, are you hurt? Are you hurt? There's still gunshots coming from the car. They sneak out through fucking Ellie's passenger door, and Joe sees the hole.
She sees a hole big enough for Ellie to fit. So go in there and wait, basically. And it's funny because it's like the whole scene is like you hear it from her perspective. You're seeing her on camera listening to everything kind of happening in the background. Like Joe killing the guy, and you know what I mean? You don't actually see it. You see her. Her reacting. It was pretty cool.
I really want to play this fucking game, dude. I really, really do. But I don't know how much I can take at this point. But yeah, so Joe takes out the first one. The other guy's pissed off, saying, oh, you'll be sorry, I'm gonna get you. Joe takes him out, and he thinks he's in the clear.
And then another guy sneaks up behind him and knocks him to the ground.
Yeah, so at this point, I am assuming that Ellie hears this, so she hears a struggle. So she slightly walks up, and then when she sees what's going on, she takes out her gun. Now here we have a 14-year-old girl. I'm like, I hope she can aim good. And clearly she can, because she pops his ass in like his lower right or left side, and gets him off of Joe. And at this point, Joe looks at her pretty fucking shocked. And I don't know if she gives him the gun at this point or he takes it from her. All I know is the motherfucker who got shot is pleading for his life.
He's pleading for his life after all this, and then Joe takes the gun and the guy's knife.
Yeah, because he's like, here, take the knife. My name is Billy. What's your name? Yeah, his name ain't fucking. Shut up, Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is. Stupid. And I mean, and Joe
sends her back to the hole, basically.
Her back to the hole. And I thought he was going to shoot him. I really did.
Well, he didn't want to make the noise.
I know, but I really wanted to hear that. But I'm sorry, it's a bang. You're just so used to hearing that. And I was a little bit disappointed on that. I don't know why. Ellie ends up letting Joe through the other side, and is it this where we get Kathleen
yes.
now? Okay. You want to go on that one?
Yeah,
this fucking beer is delicious, by the way. I've been drinking. I'm like,
we'll
right
meet
here.
Kathleen, who's played by Melanie Alinsky. And she's best known from 3.5 Men. 2.5 Men. What is it?
You are not talking about the house sitter who always talks shit.
No, hell no.
Okay, I was about to be like, holy shit.
Hell no.
Okay, see, I didn't watch 3.5 Men. I don't know her. I just don't know. I didn't watch it. 2.5 Men. I did not watch it enough to know that person.
That's what I mainly know her from.
Okay, cool. How did you feel about her as a villain? Because at first I was like, oh, she reminds me of the governor. You know, the governor from Walking. I'm comparing this to Walking Dead. I'm sorry, in every fucking aspect. And I was like, okay. And I was like, good save. I was like, she seems to have some issues. But anyways, we get this scene. We have no fucking idea who these two people are, but one person is Kathleen, and then the other, I believe his name is Edelstein. He's a doctor.
Yeah,
we find that
basically,
out.
she's interrogating him.
Yes.
You just see her basically interrogating an older man, and in federal lockup. Basically, they took over type shit. Looking for, basically, she's looking for people.
Yep.
And the list ends with basically Henry. Like, that's the main one.
And she does, obviously, she does have a grudge. Did she give that speech with Edelstein, or was that with that's like next episode? I know she gave this speech.
When she was talking to him too, she looks at the cell that's there in question. Oh, is this where my brother was beaten?
Yeah.
Beaten to death? You know, and the man says that she's been wrong, but this is going too far type shit, and it must stop.
Yeah, okay. So we can already see from obviously the DZ zone being fucking destroyed. It seems like Rebels took over. Long story short, at least what we can get an idea of, especially how Kathleen is talking to this dude.
Exactly. Like it seems like she's calm in a way. It's kind of weird because he's saying that like, oh, you're going too far and it must stop. It's like, oh, it didn't matter when you were safe and ratting.
Exactly.
And being a rat, it didn't matter then.
Exactly. And I was on her side then. I'm like, hell fucking it's always easy for these bitch ass motherfuckers to be like, please don't hurt me when you've been doing this hurting.
Right. She even puts a gun to his head, and you find out that apparently he's the doctor that delivered her as a baby and everything.
And then she can't do it. So I thought she really, really was like a different side of the Fireflies, like maybe like another faction.
Right.
She hears the commotion. She goes outside, and what we find out is they found the bodies that Joe has basically.
Before that, you do find out Henry that she's looking for was the ones that ratted out, that told Fedra about her brother.
Okay. See, I didn't even fucking catch that there. Okay, good shit. And she sees the dead body.
Yeah, she hears the truck horn, like you said, go see the dead body.
And the guy was like the guy that they did the kid. I did kind of feel bad for him because he's like, just take me to my mom. It's like, I don't know what to do. I can't feel my legs. And you don't mean to laugh, but he was going over the top to try to save his life.
Yeah, he was the one. He came at Joe pretty hard though too.
No, that's
like
what
all of a sudden
like,
turned on you.
Like what did you really expect? Anyways, and so at this point she is like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know, like her bodyguard. That's what I wrote. He looks super
Perry.
cool. Oh, that's his name?
Perry. And actually in the video game he plays Tommy.
Oh,
the brother.
Okay, dude. The actor, I don't know who he is, but he looked legit in that militarized. Like I want that guy in the zombie apocalypse. He was really, really good. In fact, and obviously we'll get to him a little bit more next episode.
His name is Jeffrey Pierce.
Jeffrey Pierce. He was really, really good. Like, he barely had a lot of stuff to say, but he got his fucking point across just with his aura as an actor, especially with this character. I did really like it. So
they say that basically that they were killed by outsiders, not Fedra.
Yes. And so she's like, okay, find them. And
but first, they find them. She was like, will any of them survive if they had a doctor?
Oh yeah, she did do that cold.
Yeah, she was like, they're like, nah. So then she just goes inside and shoots the motherfucking doctor.
I was like, damn, I hope there's another doctor, because you made it seem like that was the only one.
Right.
And so at this point, she, like we say, she says, everybody, spread out, look for Henry, and by the way, look for these guys. So they are busting in houses. They are looking for mostly Henry at this point. And
she even said, like, oh, Henry sent them.
Yes.
Try to say, oh, Henry sent them. We won't stop until they're found.
And when I was thinking, I was like, who the fuck is this Henry? I was like, he must have some vital information that he's trying to get
like something,
out.
Right?
Yeah, like he's trying to leave the city to tell somebody some shit. That's what I thought. But obviously, we'll get into that next episode.
So yeah, Joel and Ellie now are hiding in a bar, basically watching, seeing the men search and all that stuff.
And at this point, Joe does the worst. You know what? Can I take a shout out to how horrible Joe tried to comfort Ellie? Because that was so fucking bad. He was like,
yeah, because she felt bad that she had to use the gun and shit.
Yeah,
confessed that it wasn't her first time, because he was trying to everybody shoots the first time. Yeah,
he was like, if you what? Pedro Pascal hands down is awesome as Joe, because that line, that one little word, he's like, if you want to talk about it, he's like, I'm not good at this. She's like, yeah, I can fucking tell you're not good at this. And that is when she confesses during this back and forth conversation that this wasn't her first time. Joe's point though was, you are too young to be dealing with this type of shit right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're too young. You shouldn't have been the one to pull the trigger.
But she's like, this wasn't my first time.
Yes.
And I don't want to talk about it type shit. And he ends up giving her the gun back.
Yes, and he shows her how to grip it. I was like, oh, is that interesting? I was trying to learn lessons from this motherfucker too. I was like,
he said, basically, we'll get through this.
Yes.
And she says, I know.
And that was the first time when he showed her how to grip it and he grabbed the gun.
Yeah.
That's the first time I seen her smile, like genuine kid smile. So I do love the fucking bond, hands down. Right. We are back with Kathleen and Perry. She was asking him if he has any evidence of Henry.
Yeah, basically Perry says that they found evidence of Henry, and Kathy says he won't. What is it? Damn, can't even read my own shit again.
Shit, I was like, all I know is he took him up to this like fucking attic and it was like cans.
Oh yeah, because that's what he's saying. Oh, he won't let Sam starve.
Yes, and that's when I found out. Okay, so it's more than one person. Right. So that was. Also, we found out that there is a much bigger problem. He takes her downstairs and he opens this door with this fucking, like, the ground is like caving in. Yeah, and breathing.
Perry shows her this crater. It's like basically cave in the ground that's moving and shit.
And it's making sounds, my dude. Now, okay, I'm gonna be real with you. Kathleen is a horrible leader.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I would have been like, fuck Henry. I don't know what he's done at this point, but when I am looking at this and I'm hearing shit, like the moving wouldn't spook me.
I'll seal it off.
I know, we'll get to this later. And even Perry
don't tell nobody about
it. Later? He's like, are you sure? Like, that's his nice way. He's like, are you sure? She goes, yes, I'm sure. And that's the end of, isn't that the end of like that little saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And so at this point, at least what I have is Ellie and Joe breaking into that tall building because their goal is to try to find the tallest building, look around and see what the best possible way is to get out of the Kansas City, get out of this zone that they're in. I thought it was hilarious how it was 45 floors.
Yeah.
And these motherfuckers went up 33 flights. I don't even know today, 2023, how many flights of stairs I could go up in a row. Like,
right, yeah.
If somebody was like, we give you $100, what is it, a flight? Like a floor? How many do you think you could do? $100 a floor.
My big ass, isn't it?
Bro, I probably $500 worth.
Yeah, you do a lot more than that.
Man,
I'll probably do 5, 6. I can see you doing 15 to 20 if you push yourself. You know, but
I was looking at that
before he starts basing. she asked him about the guy faking the injury.
Yes.
Like, how'd you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he basically confessed to her that he's been on both sides of that.
Yeah, he was talking about her, Tess, and Tommy used to do things like that, and she does.
So she asked, like, "Have you killed innocent people?" Which he ignores.
Yep. And this is where we can see now. I've heard Joe is not the person that we think he is. I've been hearing whispers. Obviously, I don't know about the game because I didn't play the game, and I heard the finale of the game was so big in both of the characters' developments that it's awesome, so I didn't want to ruin it. And so but you do see fucking cracks here. Yeah. And Joe ignores. He goes, let's keep pushing, let's go. He doesn't answer that question. They finally get up to where I think it's the
33rd floor, where he calls it quits. She calls him a lazy ass.
And see, the bond is just increasing here.
You got 56-year-old, you little shit.
Yeah, I know. I was like, damn, right? I was like, man, he is kind of getting up there. Joe can handle himself, and you don't think of him as almost pushing 60. But yeah, and they go upstairs.
Basically, he breaks some glass on the floor so he can hear people coming, but she does notice that he can't hear good out of his right ear.
Mm-hmm. And so he was like, she asked him, is that because you got shot there? And he said, actually, that's probably because me doing more shooting than anything. So I would stick to your knife if I was you. And then she asks him if it gets any easier killing people, and he says no, it doesn't. So
then she tells him another joke.
Oh, bro, I wrote this joke down. She broke him. She broke him. They're just, you know, I was almost about to say a couple partners.
Yeah, they had a moment.
They had a moment. And she goes, did you know diarrhea is hereditary? Because it runs in your genes. I will forever use that as a dad joke now. That is in the vaults. And he can't hold it. He can't contain it. He's just like, really after all this. And I remember you said maybe 2 episodes ago, he's like, man, Ellie's growing on me, bro. She's growing on me. Yeah. I don't know the actress name. I was about to call her Maisie Wilson. She is not Arya of House Stark. That is not her. Anyways, but she is doing phenomenally with Ellie.
Bella Ramsey.
She's doing phenomenal with Ellie. I don't know Ellie as far as the video game, but I fucking love her. I'm sold. I'm sold, especially since I've already seen episode 5. We're about to talk about that a little bit later, but as far as, you know, we getting these new characters.
Well,
I'm sorry
about the ending.
My bad.
Basically,
shit. I threw my note to the back. Jesus. My bad. Go ahead.
It basically ends with her waking him up, and Henry's there pointing the gun at her.
Yes.
And there's a kid standing over.
Yes,
Joel.
with paint on his face. It was funny because when they closed, it's like, that got paint on his face. But yeah, it was like they was about to get robbed by Blank Man. That's what I thought of automatically.
Yeah, but then at the same time, you realize that did affect his non-hearing in that ear. He didn't hear them stepping on the glass.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. But yeah, I really liked this episode. I thought it was a solid episode. I didn't think the episode was phenomenal. No. Shit. But
it was good. Yeah, I like that it kept to the story.
Exactly.
Like I said, that was my only issue. Episode 3.
I do think 3 was better than this one, though. I will say that. But we're gonna talk about episode 5, and I feel like I'm trying to rush to episode 5, but I don't want to because we didn't even take the shout outs. As far as Kathleen goes, man, Priorities. You got a horde. You just took over
Shout
a
out
city,
to
baby.
Billy. No. Now we'll shout out to Joel and Ellie's relationship.
Yeah, they're bonding.
They're bonding.
That's some good shit. My legs aren't working. Oh man. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Melvin Banks.
And this is Ito.
And we are the Carbonation Conversation, reviewing The Last of Us Episode 4. Ito, look, what's the name?
Please hold to my hand.
Please hold to my hand. If you like the audio editing in the background and the music, definitely hit up Mo Beats 89 on all platforms. And if you want him to do some work for you, add an @gmail at the end of that jazz. I think an applause is in order.
Really?
I gotta get used to, because sometimes I forget these are
I know,
here.
right?
And so I'm like, let me start pressing them a little bit at least. Shit. But ladies and gentlemen, don't drink and drive.
Drink and vibe.
Peace.